All right, you guys, happy Monday. I am extra happy this Monday because of the great debate. Guys, if we're being honest, it was over the minute that Andrew Wilson began creating quote-unquote opening statement from his phone. I was half expecting him to just be like, and this message was brought to you by Turning Point USA. Just terrible. Terrible. I mean, without question, the biggest loser was Eric Kirk, Andrew Kovac, the Net, Turning Point USA organization, more broadly speaking. This we seem to be reaching a month of PR disaster. But it gets worse. Guys, they brought that guy in to train Turning Point USA students how to debate. So he's going to teach them the strategy of debate. They actually get to teach them. So they went from Charles James Kirk, Charlie, to a chain-smoking debate bro in very shaky news. Like I said, they are biggest losers. I personally think the organization is over. There can't be much coming back from that. They're now wagon to Eric Kirk, CEO and chairwoman of this organization under William, which is was President Lee sent an absolute jerk. Welcome back to Canvas. Let me just express to you all that I truly feel disrespected. Can I say that? I feel disrespected because there is no organization that knows better than Turning Point USA does. I was trained to debate by Charlie Kirk, across country, across too many college campuses. I mean, just hours and hours and hours while we were traveling, no cars, learning how to debate, what not to do. So it's just like, how dare they? You know, how dare they send me Andrew Wilson? Really, this is the person that's coaching the students. This is who you think is going to take me down. Goes to the Team USA headquarters in June, comes out and suddenly thinks that, I don't know, he's a billionaire, dropping my name. Free. Okay. Let me give you guys a back here. You should just know what happened with this because it just give me a better sense of what coordination has become. What we all noticed is nothing that Charlie was, and I think understanding the lead up to this moment, lead up to the great debate, I think that it will help furnish the answer of the strategy that her employees as the CEO leader. Now, I am not in any way exaggerating when I say that I have never in my life, amongst friend or foe organizations, dealt with a more unprofessional team than Andrew's team in my entire career ever. And leading up to them arriving at my house. So, foremost, just to back it up, you will recall that Andrew Wilson demanded that I publicly negotiate the terms of the agreement on X. He wanted to go back and forth with negotiating. He wanted to make sure that I couldn't change the terms. I was like, why don't we take something an email? Just go back and forth. He's like, no, this must be negotiated publicly, please. I literally refused to email like a normal human being until we agreed to the debate claim, until we agreed to the format, 3.5 hours minimally, until I accepted that. And that took about a day and a half of nonstop back and forth, which to me is quite childish. Should be great. Of course, it was a great video guy. He was paranoid, to be sure. There were no surprises, and we were going to do some sort of gotcha here. And he was in his ear just telling him that any of this is necessary. I don't know. I did find out. We also agreed to sought publicly for his own fact checkers. Essentially, he's come to the party before. We agreed that he could pick a moderator, etc., etc. We basically rolled on everything because I just said, I'm down for this debate. And then once it was excruciatingly negotiated, finally able to discussions behind the scenes, we worked our email chain. I am provided with no identity as to who I am communicating with. We're basically emailing the quote-unquote crucible team. I'm like, who is this? Who am I speaking with? Why is there no name behind the emails? When we, like I said, we asked, who am I speaking to? They're just being shady for no reason. It's like a faceless email chain. We have all of our names on there, so they know exactly who's calling the shots, who's being looped in, we've got nothing. So whoever this anonymous email person or people were, they then declare that they would like the contract and an escrow account for the funds, okay? Not totally off the mark, but it's gonna be hard. Not exactly easy to find a bank that approves an escrow account opening and lawyers involved by Friday. That's what I'm thinking. They then indicate that they're okay if it's my lawyer's account. Okay, fine. I had my lawyer begin drafting a very simple contract, which basically spells out exactly what we've agreed to publicly. And suddenly we receive an email from the Crucible team. The Crucible team essentially saying, never mind, Joe Rogan has now made an offer to host this discussion down in Texas. So, and I'm quoting this changes everything. Let's just blow up the negotiations, just blow up everything that we made you painfully agree to publicly, because Joe Rogan will reach more people than your platform. Now they're asking me to travel to Texas. They offer me a luxury car to accommodate my pregnancy. And I say no. I say no unless Joe would like to come to Nashville, because it does not change everything. It actually changes nothing. And I'm not going to deal, it's already been a painful process. I'm not taking myself through that again, plus pushing the date back and having to be in communication with this team for weeks on end, because you're a fan of Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan too, but I only had two conditions here, right? Everything else we conceded to. I said I don't want to travel. Not because I can't travel, Rogan. I do. I can and I do travel, Rogan. I just don't travel to this ankle biter who's up there saying, I'll do it on your platform. Okay, put your money where your mouth is. The other condition I had was no smoking. No smoking, no travel. Anyway, they finally let that go, and I respectfully declined. When Joe reached out, he was very nice about it, totally understanding. Andrew then calls PBD and asks him to moderate, because Michael Knowles said he wasn't going to moderate. I immediately said, give me your second, third, fourth option so we can start reaching out to people. Andrew reached out to PBD, and around this time, the quote-unquote Crucible team begins renegotiating what we've already publicly agreed to, asserting that they want to have a guaranteed 90 minutes to basically sit me through a deposition where he can just go at me and ask me questions, and I have to answer his questions about things that I have said outside of our debate claims. Now, we've already addressed that publicly, and I said no. I said I'm happy to answer your questions once we have exhausted our debate claims, but we're not going to have you sitting down and deposing me. I actually recommended the email. Again, I said, if you want that to happen, you're going to have to pass the bar and join Brigitte Macron's prosecution team against me. If that's what you're aspiring to do, sit me down for a deposition, you have to become a lawyer and join the team. Okay? And I said no. And PBD, I'm going crazy here. I'm like, he is the one that agreed to all of this publicly, made me do this publicly, and is now trying to change things. So at that point, since PBD accepted being a moderator, he suggests that everyone get on a FaceTime call to work through these details. So we have basically an emergency FaceTime call on Tuesday evening, and I explain in detail. Suddenly he's acting differently. I think just having the presence of me now looping in PBD on his emails, he's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. I don't need to, ask her questions or do anything like that or add that to the contract. I just want to make sure that there will be time for me to address, generally speaking, some of her conspiracy stuff. That's what people are here to listen to. And I explained in detail on this call, and PBD has two members from this team on the call as well, Tom as well as his executive assistant. I explained in detail thoroughly that my house is very small. I explained to him why we are not allowing them to film there, but inside of this exact studio, my kids live here, they homeschool, and this is something that you just have to respect, but I understand you're paranoid. We have a very small, formerly HVAC closet control room, but we will create a spot to address your paranoia for your team. They will be able to listen, they'll be able to hear everything, and so that you know that there's no funny business going on, and you're welcome to basically record within the studio so that in the event that we try to trick you or do something, you will have captured it. And he's fine with that. We get off the phone, everything is done. contract gets officially signed on Thursday. Okay, what could possibly go wrong? I'm thinking, right? Because tomorrow's Friday. Well, sometime on Thursday, my producer is like, it's kind of weird that we don't have a point of contact. We are still dealing with a faceless team. No one has reached out to ask for our address. We also need the names because we have security and we need to know who they're bringing. So the faceless people have to become real people. And we end up asking PPD's team to provide us a number for Andrew Wilson. We get a number, and it's Andrew's number, and he says, reach out to this number, which seemingly belongs to no one. It will not identify themselves. So my producer is now texting an anonymous somebody. We try to run the number to figure out who we're speaking to. It appears to be a burner phone. And the person I guess they want to surprise us with who they're bringing to the house. And I can't even imagine this. I can't even imagine a scenario where someone has expressed to you, my children live here, they sleep here, this is our personal home, but we are going to, have a studio outside of this in the near future, but for now, this is what we have. Now, over the course of this conversation with this faceless individual, the person immediately begins getting rude with my producer and insisting, again, this is on Thursday, this is the night before, that they're going to need a desk, they're going to need a place to set up Andrew's live stream. Excuse me? They're saying they're now going to need an HDMI cable that's going to run out of our studio into the control room so they can set up a computer into a camera and live stream. They need access to power, they say. They, being the anonymous people, I don't know who we're speaking to, and I almost lost it. I just went, like, this is absurd. They still will not answer who they are bringing. And I said, we have never agreed to allow them to set up a live stream in our home, to find a desk. HDMI, what are we even talking about? And the person replies that they thought it was implied because our contract says the debate will be live streamed. Yeah, the debate's going to be live streamed like my show is live streamed every day because you thought we were going to trick you and put it behind a paywall. Why would you think that implies that you can set up a mini studio in my home? After I've gone through such pains to express to both you and PBD's team how small the space is and how we don't have any room. I kid you not, okay? So when did this anonymous team decide to email us rather than trying to, force my producer to just accommodate them? When were they going to email us about this assumption? 9:15 p.m. the night before. 9:15 p.m. the night before the debate, with a follow-up email sent at 11:15 p.m. And still, at no point will they identify who the four people are, despite the fact that we asked multiple times in email and via text, who are you bringing into my home where my children lie their head? So it's now debate day. We still get no answers, no identity of who they're bringing. They want to surprise us. That's very apparent. And I just want to say I cannot comprehend how degenerate and disrespectful you have to be to do that. I would never do that to anybody, no matter how I felt about them. So we just made sure they were not welcome through the front door. We normally just welcome everybody through the front door. Instead, they had to go through the back, the basement door, because why would I allow anyone to be so unnecessarily disrespectful? Then we figure out why. And then it starts to make sense, because he shows up with Steven Crowder's team. Steven Crowder's producer, CEO, regular on-air talent, feature, tweeting me. He's actually like the CEO of whatever it is Steven Crowder thinks he does anymore. If you don't know who Steven Crowder is, he's basically a child actor who never stopped being a child actor, 40-year-old man, and he just likes to prank people. And this is exactly his brand of just doing something this disrespectful for no reason. And I mean, when I say disrespectful, and I'm not even like Gerald Morgan is who brought with him. He was not rude to me, but could you imagine, okay, that despite me detailing why we wanted no filming outside of this studio, and saying you can film in the studio, Gerald decided to do a live call-in from my kids' playroom just outside the studio. It was one of the reasons we said no smoking. We made it clear to them my children's playroom, which is the garage area, is just outside, and you can't smoke cigarettes. All of this was made clear. This was their big plan, is to get views for Steven and disrespect me. You can go back. And so I still am just amazed that this is something that, like, grown be plotting and planning for clicks and views. It's so disgusting. But at the very least, allowed me to understand why there was so much paranoia, why there was all this weird communication, all this unnecessary scheming. Because that's his brand. That is literally his brand. He's just not an honest dealer. He's part of that bizarre middle-aged fixated with me. I just never had been interested in Steven Crowder. I genuinely, I don't follow his stuff. I've never been on his show. That brand of never growing up and thinking that it's funny to do like pranks and stuff. It's grow up, you know? His brand sort of crashed and burned when he was caught on a doorbell cam parading his 8-month pregnant, now ex-wife, when she was pregnant with twins. And he never really recovered from that. And so I guess the way that he thought he would recover is by plotting against another very pregnant person to sort of like break into her house in a weird way, and like so you could have inside scoop on a debate rather than just maturely emailing and saying, like, why would you sneak into someone's house? Like, it still boggles the mind. Why would you try to sneak into someone's house because you want clicks and views, because you don't have the manhood or the decency to say, hey, look, you said I could bring 4 people, and I'm going to bring someone that you don't like and someone who's been nasty with you online, but that's my prerogative. I would have said, yeah, you're right. It's your prerogative. Could you just make sure this person doesn't, film here, whatever? They did not do that. And it was actually a complete violation of what we agreed to, because one thing the contract did stipulate was no makeup outside of this studio. Anyway, I kept it professional. We were kind to everyone because, if nothing else, it did give me the confidence to know that Andrew was surrounding himself and taking advice from very unserious people who like to play pranks, essentially. And I think that we saw the fruits of that during the debate immediately. That was their plan, to sort of play tricks to win. And I do want to say, just to be super fair here, the team, particularly he had in the control room, Rob, he was very kind and very professional. Even Gerald, he was kind and professional to my face, but just what you're doing, the exercise of what you're doing here, is just a level of disrespect that I don't think I've ever dealt with. And if it wasn't for me knowing we're moving out of this house in a couple of weeks or so, I probably would not want these kinds of people to know where I live, because you just don't have respect for children. Now, regarding the debates, I do want to say this. By the time Andrew Wilson whipped out his phone and read that opening statement, it was clear to me that he was going to lose. As soon as he said the much trafficked quotation of, "You're going on vibes and dreams and no evidence," I knew that he was completely unfamiliar with my content. Like, he just decided to go to Turning Point and say, "I'll do this and I'll be macho," and had done no research. And I also had this micro win, because earlier, you remember, I had said that one of the terms that I wanted, that I kept conceding, was I wanted Turning Point to claim their horse. I wanted them to say that this is our guy. And he said he would want that done. We all knew that he was being sent by Erica and company, but he refused that term and said he had nothing to do with them. And then in the first 3 minutes of the debate, he makes it perfectly clear that Turning Point USA is backing him with this totally awkward, I have a never-before-seen message, wherein he just kind of makes Erica Kirk look like a big, fat liar. Take a listen.
I hold my possession never-before-seen messages from Charlie Kirk to security team on September 9th, 2025. I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information has ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, "Yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. This event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, 2 units will be available. I have 11 on site." Charlie responded with this: "Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me." That was a message sent September 9th.
We knew that there was always going to be a threat, but Charlie and I always agreed with each other. We would never live in fear. And he would say, if they're going to get me, they're going to get me. But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered, they're coming after me, someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I had to say that.
So for those of you who watch this show, that was the original Turning Point USA set. That was the first episode that I did going after Erica, and I explained to people that she was lying. I said she's lying. there's no way that I know that this text message exists and that this text message was sent from Dan Flood, and she doesn't. This is in December. This is in December that she's joining Glenn Beck, mid-December, that she is joining Glenn Beck and asserting that she has his phone. And then Turning Point tried to claim, which we met days after, because that's when I went, this is weird. Days after that is when Erica then came to Nashville and we had this summit. And what she told me, which now Andrew was making a very, very bad mistake here, she said, well, it was on Signal, and the team's messages auto-delete on Signal. And she didn't know. So I guess Dan Flood didn't tell her. I guess Andrew Kovac, who was giving messages that he thought were relevant to the police, didn't think to give them a message that said the left is going to kill me. Particularly when we sat down, she was like, have you seen the message? And I said, no. And she said, oh, it said the left, and it was on Signal. And I told you guys that was a double lie. She lied again. The message was actually sent on iMessage. Well, Andrew says he's going to be dropping this message because he actually didn't want to show the message for some reason. He wanted this big sort of weird opening. We were going to go, oh, and everyone just thought it was really strange. It was really strange for Turning Point USA to not have presented that message, which actually, if they really had a message that said this, their entire narrative has been let's kill Charlie Kirk. Why didn't you share that? Seems weird. Why didn't you share that with authorities when you were sharing messages? And Andrew, we're supposed to believe you didn't tell her for 4 months, but you told me in September. And Erica went on Glenn Beck to debunk me and say I was a liar. And now it's just looking real bad for Turning Point USA. So fingers crossed, guys, because I always have a surprise. Fingers crossed. Andrew, who has promised that he's going to release this on his show because he's got evidence, actually does release that message, which is supposed to be on Signal, but I know for a fact it's not a message. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on, as soon as the actual debate begins, I sort of declined to do opening statements. It was just weird that he did that. It had nothing to do with the debate claims, of course. He was just taking shots at Candace. The first thing he does is he concedes that there's reasonable doubt that Tyler Robinson did this. BBD asked us explicitly, what percentage do you put this at? And here's what Andrew Wilson says.
Just out of curiosity, between 0 to 100, what is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk in Cuba?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know, I'd say 75, 85%.
Okay, I win the debate. So I guess the evidence is not so overwhelming. We went from overwhelming to 75%. That's reasonable doubt. Let this man off. What? What are we even talking about? And who has ever been like, yes, 75% was overwhelming? Hey, how would you rank that restaurant? 75%. I was overwhelmed with how delicious the food was, and I think that's 75%. What are we talking about? Why are we here? And I realized that he didn't really know why he was here. He didn't have any sort of a debate strategy other than to lie with confidence. It was just amazing to me how many times this man thought that he could just lie, not only about things that were happening in the case, but also about what was happening currently in the room during the debate. Like, we're sitting here, and he just was like, I'm a wizard. I'm a wizard. I have a magic wand, and I can just convince audiences, and they didn't or did just hear something that happened 5 seconds ago. It was bonkers. I mean, the amount of people that were like, this is a straw. Like, you take a listen to just 2 times he did this. He wrote, the car pulling in, that's a totally blurry image. Robinson getting out of it. We have no idea if that's Tyler Robinson. The fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera, the fact being just a standard white boy with brown hair was seen walking up staircase. The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive.
Well, just so we're clear, you did tweet it.
But it's not exhaustive.
Yeah,
Well,
just 5 seconds ago, you should
You
concede.
said I only said this one thing and said that was overwhelming, actually.
That's not what I said.
It is. You can even pull
Patrick,
your
did
own
I say
clip.
that?
Can you fact check if that was said or not? I did not hear her say.
No, the thing.
You listed on your own Twitter that what you found to be convincing was something that looked like his car car pulled into the driveway, a blurry image.
No, I didn't.
The standard white guy coming up the steps that could literally be anyone.
This never happened.
For you to say that anybody's a girl boss,
That came out of your mouth.
that was you. You brought up girl boss.
Girl boss came out of your mouth.
It's a bizarre criticism. Like, nobody's in the bigger girl boss position than you.
Actually,
This is not the girl boss position, so you don't have to do this. You just do this. You could definitely not do it at all and be fine.
he literally came out of his mouth. I never said girl boss. I was just answering and asking him to explain away how he shifted his position on now he suddenly supports Erica being the CEO. And then he started bringing up a girl boss. And he did this so many times. It was stunning. And people were just going, why? Maybe he has amnesia. Maybe it's not a strategy and he has amnesia. But to just assert something with such confidence and to keep lying over and over again was just shocking to me. We were probably less than an hour into it when I realized, by the way, that he was not okay. Because I wanted to address that, this bizarre strategy of public gaslighting. And he, again, wrongly, but ever confidently, filled in the wrong blank when I said, are you? And this actually ended up being one of my favorite moments. Take a listen.
You didn't mention that I mentioned the screwdriver, DNA, all these other things. You never mentioned any of that. So, no, you're actually incorrect there. But on top of that, moving over to the actual evidence itself.
Are you?
Yes, I'm okay. Anyway, back to
Let's
the
ask
evidence
if you're
itself.
okay.
Yes,
Actually, I'm glad you were asserting that you're okay. I wasn't worried about your health. Really don't think by that time he was okay. It was already apparent to me that he was kind of coming apart and he didn't really have an argument. And it was very obvious that he did not watch the preliminary hearing, or any hearing for that matter. This is why he could not comprehend the contradiction of him claiming and calling people conspiracy theorists. You're a conspiracy theorist, and it's because of the way that you're looking at evidence. You're making inferences off of that evidence. That's his whole thing. He couldn't comprehend the hypocrisy of that, when in fact he was doing the exact same thing. If all of his evidence was being derived, which he felt was overwhelming, was being derived from a hearing wherein the prosecution was doing just that, looking at evidence and interpreting it however they wanted, a blurry image of a white man with brown hair. I think that's Tyler Robinson. Okay, I think that's not Tyler Robinson. He calls one a fact and the other one a conspiracy theory. This was the whole point of a hearsay, of the hearsay Utah 1102. And if he had watched how many times they discussed this 1102 rule, it was basically like, yeah, we allow this at this stage, it's probative, he would have understood why I was pointing out this hypocrisy. He quite literally could not quite grasp that concept in a way that was frustrating for me, and so much that I had to tell him, I can explain it to you, but I cannot understand it for you. Right? We all have our professional limitations. This is one of mine. I cannot. It's like being in a class and you just have that one student that's not grasping something that seems to the rest of us to be a really easy concept, and he's going, I don't understand. Why do you keep saying it's here? What is 1102? What is this? What does it matter? Because this grants us all the ability, whether inside or out of the courtroom, to look at evidence and then to infer upon that evidence. In fact, that's what people are doing in any court case, actually. Both sides are doing that. They're in disputes. One side is saying, I infer this. One side is saying, I infer the opposite, and here is the evidence. And the jury makes a decision. Anyway, it was very clear to me that because he was weak on the case and didn't know anything, he wanted out of debating the evidence altogether. He didn't want to talk about the degraded prince who says, so what? So what? What do you mean, so what? I'm trying to tell you why there is just as much evidence here, the evidence that you say is enough to say that he did it, to say that he was set up as a patsy. I'm trying to prove my claim, but he said, nope, let's go to a new phase. And it was, the next phase was very reminiscent to me of when you learn a new vocab word and you just want to use it. It was like a term he had just learned yesterday or something, and that term was positive evidence. He just thought that if I keep saying it, people at home will think I'm really smart and intellectual. And frankly, it just came across as bizarre. This is just a little bit of him saying positive evidence.
Let's talk about the Foreign Legion.
Sure.
Was the Foreign Legion, do you believe, trying to kill you?
Yes, that's why I reported it to the correct officials in government. That's what I was told, and I handed over that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office.
What's your best piece of evidence for that?
Well, it was
Positive evidence.
would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over. I can't do that. I'm not
But
the
you don't
United
have
States
any
government.
positive evidence of
Okay,
that,
okay.
right?
Liz, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying positive evidence
Do you have any positive evidence whatsoever that Israel killed Charlie Kirk?
that he stopped and ate at Chick-fil-A, which, if you are into LGBTQ issues, wouldn't be your lunch before you go kill Charlie Kirk for LGBTQ issues, because
Yeah, but do you have positive evidence?
and we cannot say for certainty that Israel called the shots and this is how it happened, but it is definitively, I think, a thread that a lot of us would like
Do
to
you
see
say there's no
pulled.
positive evidence? Don't you think that like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people would want to know what Candace Owens' positive evidence for why it is
No, I
that
don't.
Israel and France were involved in the most traumatic public assassination of Gen Z's lifetime is? She had no positive evidence Israel was involved in anything. No positive evidence that France is involved in anything. No positive evidence TPUSA is involved in anything. No positive evidence that Erica Kirk is involved in anything.
Genuinely, like, it was maddening. I just, could you just stop saying that term? You do not sound smart. Just, you don't need positive evidence for your opinions. You just don't. You're like, hey, I think chicken sandwiches are better than cheeseburgers. But what's your positive evidence? But well, I just think that. Well, what's your you have to have positive evidence. How would I have to have positive evidence for me receiving a threat and me taking it to the authorities? Could you imagine if the world worked like that? Like, you receive a threat and someone's like, hey, you should know if this person's plotting to kill you, and you go to the police station and you're like, here's the person who told me this, he's gonna kill me, and the police are like, well, what's your positive evidence? My positive evidence, I'm reporting the threat, officer. I don't know how. I want you to do your job now and go figure out if this is viable. They're telling this. Well, what's your positive evidence? My positive evidence is me coming to you with the evidence that I have and expecting you to investigate it because that's your duty. I mean, that limitation, it was really funny. What I saw a meme, I think we're going to actually show it later, of people just being like, does he think that people, if you think the FBI is involved and you think that they planned this assassination, that the government's going to help you find the positive evidence for this stuff? Like, well, JFK, I guess it was all above board because you have to have positive evidence, and only the CIA can give you that positive evidence, and they've blacked out the documents, so you just can't speculate about it. I mean, it's just bonkers. I'm allowed to think what I think about Erica Kirk. I think she's suspicious. And then I remind you. Be right back. And I say, well, what's your positive evidence for you having asserted, as he did before he went to Turning Point USA headquarters in May, he tweeted that he thinks that Erica Kirk is too retarded to kill her husband. And so I'm like, well, what's your positive evidence for that? Are you allowed to just have opinions? And then he's like, oh, I'm allowed to have opinions. And he says he thinks that all women are retards. And sure, if you're sitting across from a woman that you're paying $100,000 an hour to speak to, I don't think anyone's walking away thinking that women are dumb in this situation. That's my opinion. I have no positive evidence, But I think most people walked away and thought you were the idiot. Anyway, next he did what he was obviously censored to do, and you could just see his whole posture is changing. He's not feeling confident. He realizes he just said the words positive evidence too many times. Nobody cares. No one thinks you're brilliant, and it's quite annoying. And then it moves to this phase where it's very obvious to me that he is trying to entrap me in a lawsuit by getting me to complete sentences in a way that would fall into legal defamation, right? He's asking me and he's surprising me, and this is very Steven Crowder coded. Like, to have clips, just so you guys in the background, we told them, if you want to send us clips ahead of time, and as you saw, we had no clips planned. We just said, we just want fact checkers in there because we may arrive at certain points where we dispute what we're saying, and rather than going back and forth with like, yes, they did say this, or yes, she did, or Kathy Nesser did, we can just ask them to do a quick fact check. And because there's a lot of information going on in this case, and sometimes you just genuinely forget things, as I did, genuinely. I didn't accuse him of lying. I said, I don't remember the text about the surveillance thing. Can we get a fact check on that? And we did. That was the purpose of having fact checkers. Never did I imagine, of course, because he didn't share who his team was, or I maybe would have considered it, that he was, what he really spent his time doing, while I was prepping for the debate, he was prepping to try to do some gotcha clips and to come in as Erica Kirk's lawyer. You know, I'm not with Turning Point USA, but if I got to get you on record with defaming Turning Point USA. And he did this in a way that could not have been more obvious of trying to sort of trick me into a lawsuit. Take a listen.
Do you have any evidence that Erica Kirk or TPUSA participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I've never said they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk, so how could I say that I have evidence they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Okay, so then you don't believe that they did?
I never have said that statement, so I'm not going to get you to ask me personal questions about things that I've never said on record.
Okay, that officer, the first officer that was up on the roof, do you remember his name?
Officer Bagley.
Yeah, what was his first name?
Christopher.
When Christopher got up on the roof, you talk a lot about how his camera died.
Well, he talked a lot about that during the
about his
preliminary
camera
hearing.
died.
Yeah.
Do you think that he planted that screwdriver up there?
No.
No. Who do you think planted it?
If we're just going on am I allowed to have an opinion?
Of course.
At this stage, I would say that I don't buy his assertion on the stand that he didn't check to see if anybody went onto the rooftop before he got up there. I do think that it's possible, it's at least plausible that the screwdriver...
Yep. Earn cash from home. Fashion, sports gear, collectibles, books, toys, and more.
Cam died at just the right time. His body cam died at just the right time. I think that, as you were just grilling me about whether or not I had got the merchant receipt for a debit card, that kind of makes it difficult that we just have to sort of trust that a screwdriver was found and we don't have any should-be evidence of a police body cam. That right there is why it is impossible for me to think that Erica Kirk is not complicit somehow. Because what?
Those two thoughts actually don't even follow. How would it be the case that even if Eric Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, let's just say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did. She just actually did. Would it then follow that somehow she's complicit in his death?
I didn't say complicit in death. You added those two words.
Okay, so what's she complicit in?
Yes. Look at his face. You could just see it. You could just see the dishonesty there, right? So what she complicit, it's like that sentence was so planned. That was so planned. Complicit in his death. That's not what we were discussing. We were talking about the fact, Erica, I forgive him, implies that Tyler Robinson is guilty. Tyler Robinson is up for the death sentence. And when you are someone who is going around signaling to the public that this person did it, and we assume that you have more evidence, you've seen something, which was the broad assumption as I explained, and it comes to find out that you had nothing different than the public had, people are going to go, this feels wrong. This feels like wrongdoing. Like you're potentially, getting a jury, what could be a jury, to believe that this is the person who committed murder, and the consequence he will face is death. So I could just see that move there if that was so Daily Wire coded, I would say. They love lawsuits, they love legal entrapments. That's what that felt like to me, and I could sense it from a mile away. And then I could sense that he was growing frustrated that I would not take the bait. I'm smarter than that. And I then called him out for having played 3 Erica clips like in a row. You're sitting here saying you're not here on behalf of Turning Point USA, but you start with an opening text that only Turning Point USA could have given you, that they have not given to the public, and now you're playing 3 clips in defense of her. Yeah, that then led to, because he started getting agitated, that I didn't take the bait. So he's like failed on 1, he's failed on 2. That then led to the internet's most awkward silence, where he just says that I'm not allowed to speak. And by the way, because he lies with confidence, people who were watching this thought that there must have been something contractually that prevented me from speaking or allowed him to pepper questions at me. Both are false. That's what makes this especially funny. There's absolutely no contract clause that I allowed him to sit me for a deposition, because I refused it immediately. I was like, that just sounds crazy. And there was no contract clause that suggested that I couldn't ask him questions at any point in our discussion, not even kind of, sort of. He was just genuinely coming apart and growing really antsy. And he lies with so much confidence that the internet just assumed, like, no, there must be something. No, there was nothing. Here's that painful internet silence. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? I know it's been, or like, can I ask a question? Or are we
Not
just
really.
in
I'm just gonna.
Okay.
We're gonna hold to the actual contract itself.
the contract does not say that you are allowed to just question me without me being able to respond to you
I've never said you
or
can't
have a
respond.
conversation.
You've been able to respond to every question I've asked you. And by the way, the other thing is like.
Let's have it your way. I want it to look like
Still have
we've
to have
done
the debate.
everything Andrew wanted to, so that people can fairly assess the situation. So you have it your way. I will
Totally
not
fine.
ask a question.
Totally fair with me.
So are you good with her asking a question or
He
not?
said no.
Waiting for the clip.
Okay, so you want to wait for the clip first. Okay. You guys have it in the back? Okay, beautiful.
You need the Jeopardy
Your team
thing.
told me they had it, so
That's what I heard. Okay, there we
come
go.
on, guys.
With this Andrew Wilson stuff with Candace Owens, baby, you are making it too hard for us to plead your case. And we can't make no money if we can't plead your case. So you're going to have to do something. This sucks. You're making it too hard, sir. This Andrew Wilson stuff with Candace Owens, baby, you are making it too hard for us to plead your case. We can't make no money if we can't plead your case, so you know something. This Andrew Wilson stuff.
It's like, it was so painful. So what I think happened was, because I called him out, I said, like, you have 4 Erica Kirks, and he was like, there wasn't 4, and PBD's like, it was 3. I think what happened was they had another Erica Kirk in queue, and then they just abandoned it. They just were like, we can't run this, and so then they ran this totally irrelevant, what was supposed to be a Lance bomb, but I naturally corrected myself very early on in our discussion, and I didn't realize that he was plotting this as some, like, big explosion, like, Candace got it wrong. They never actually said this, and I thought it's going to demonstrate his ability, that he is trying to control because he knows that he's lost it. Also, I was not going
All right,
to argue with him about a non-existent contract clause and waste energy. I mean, just debate about the contract seemed ridiculous. And lastly, if you consider it, I made $418.63 during that 16-second silence. What is everything playing about? You want me to be quiet? What do you? Okay. I gotcha. I'll be silent. It's a lot of money to make to be quiet. Then came the most viral moment after he permitted me to speak again. After the clip was a nothing burger, and it happened accidentally. Okay, so I felt bad that viewers had to listen through him simping for Erica for so long. We had agreed to discuss this case. I, as you know, had said to him, we should discuss the screwdriver, we should discuss the towel. And I tried to then change the topic back to the case. And I made the wrong assumption that Andrew Wilson had read the last filing, the filing for dismissal, which dropped 2 days before our debate. And my positive evidence for that assumption was that Andrew Wilson himself had tweeted about the filing as though it was helpful to his case. He tweeted about the filing, and they were all lying about what the filing was. And here he retweeted somebody else who said, skimmed it, the Tyler Robinson defense is on absolute life support. And then he wrote back, picked a hell of a week. So I was like, obviously, he must have read this filing. And I read through the filing, and just to show you, as I do with everything, for those of you guys who've been following me since lately, marked it up, took notes, and thought there were some really compelling arguments here. So I came prepared that we were going to discuss the most recent filing as one of his wrong talking points, that the Tyler Robinson admitted to the text messages being real or one thing or another. So I also just sort of thought that even if he didn't read the book, he would have at least read the last chapter before taking the exam. You know what I mean? Every person knows that if you're going to try to BS and pretend that you read the book, you better read the last chapter in case a character dies before you try to write an essay, right? And I was wrong. I was floored when I saw him again do that obvious tell of his false bravado. He just lies. Of course, and the manner that this man lies, it should be taught in a psych course. I've never seen anything like it, and I just recognized it. Now I was familiar with his style. When I asked him which charge specifically he thought Tyler Robinson was guilty of, it was because I wanted to make sure I didn't make an assumption that he was more flexible in other areas as we dove into this recent filing. And when he did the false, of course, bring it up, I went, oh, he doesn't know any of them. And so this obviously became the most discussed moment. This man came in to debate Tyler Robinson's guilt and did not know guilty of what? Take a listen. Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah, can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following
Is that
the
it?
case.
That's the question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should,
All right.
Can you tell me one
Then let's do the
charge
counter.
that he's...
You can really, hang on, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat, so please just answer the question.
This is fair.
Can
name
you
all
name,
7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is
Name all 7.
And I.
Can you name all 7?
I can't.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to.
Do it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
You don't have to put your fingers up. I can
Okay,
do that.
name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries a death sentence
So
in the
murder.
state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And
Next.
so just for people, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined, and because it carries a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay,
You're just going to recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work, and you'll be better the next time you debate someone.
I got it. Give me the other ones.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that people
No, I just
don't walk
want
away?
you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm going to
tell me
say
them.
again, because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I actually am under no time constraint.
I got one.
Right. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
What's
final...
the specific charges, though?
That is them. Obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those?
of justice, witness tampering, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them?
Well, I can tell you why he's being
No,
charged.
no, no.
with it.
Just the charges and then 7.
Yeah, you see, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay, got it. So then he's being charged with murder.
Shook, shaken. I'm like, it's just, I can't even imagine what it must be like. I mean, I know his wife is equally as bad, but it's just such a liar. Like, why say, of course, why not just say, I actually don't know the specific charges, which would have been crazy, but it's this false bravado. This is how he debates. He just lies confidently and just lies. And then when you recognize it and you call him out on the lie, he falls apart and you just start sinking more and more and more into the chair, sweating, develops some things in his teeth, and that entire personality of a man just could never drive with me. Like, I would never for a single second be intimidated by that, because it's, like I said, false bravado. There's nothing here that's remotely intimidating. You're just an idiot dressed up as some like blood sport debater, bro. There's nothing weaker than not just saying, oh, I don't know that. I would like to know what the answer to that is. And I was hoping we would actually be able to have that constructive dialogue. I was upset that we could not spend more time discussing this case. And once that happened, he was completely deflated. I mean, Andrew Wilson was very lost, and it was almost like he had to remember things they wanted him to bring up. It was very obvious that his foot just wanted out. I think his foot wanted to tell the truth. The foot was just, it wanted out. They're like, oh, the foot holds the truth, Andrew lies, but the foot just doesn't want to be there. His boot, he was literally shaking in his boots. I don't know what was going on there. And he couldn't kind of regain any sort of composure. I didn't understand anything he was getting at beyond that. He started that bizarre inquisition about my show's timeline, demanding to know why it was my show's official timeline and why I had included Tyler Robinson and Pangwich eating a steak. And I don't know if he's just averse to organization. Like, I love organizing. Timelines make sense to me. I love highlighting them. I love putting timestamps. I'm very proud of that. I don't know what he was getting at. He just wanted to know. I'm like, I spoke to the owner. The owner told me that he pulled the receipt, that it was Tyler Robinson's receipt, and my timeline, and then the receipt that was shared was the real receipt. And then he's like, well, why didn't you ask the merchant? Like, he's like, this is still not evidence. You gotta call Visa and MasterCard. I mean, take a listen to what he said. It was so absurd.
Well, the reason I'm asking you is because you always include it in your timeline that he traveled to the steakhouse.
Yeah, we've been building a timeline with things that we feel are
But is there any actual
Utah
evidence?
1102 approved. I think speaking to the owner, knowing that there's a receipt, seeing the receipt is good enough to put on our timeline.
But the receipt itself, the question I always had about it is, couldn't you just call the merchant? Like, if I've ever had a merchant account, I just call the merchant account processor and say, what's the name on this?
Yeah, I would stay tuned. I feel that having spoken to the owner, that the evidence is compelling enough to put onto my personal timeline of what took place on that day. That's where it's gonna stay, and if it gets debunked, I'm happy to take it off. If that's what you mean, that's how an investigation works. Like I said, I did more than enough. It would definitely pass the test by the Utah 1102 rule, for sure, for certain.
To be submitted as hearsay.
Well, yeah, beyond that, because they didn't even have receipts. They were like, Bob told me this.
But the question is, the receipt itself, it has not been verified to have been Tyler Robinson's.
Yeah, I just want to say you're holding me to a higher standard than you are.
I'm not even holding you. I'm just
prosecution.
asking specifically.
Yeah, I've been very forthcoming. I told exactly what happened. I spoke to the owner. I got the tip, and
So should that be added in an official timeline that
it's
you
in
give?
my timeline. It's my show, and we can add and subtract what we want, and we do. If
You
we
can
get
do what
something
you
wrong,
want, sure, but I'm
I just wanted to
asking,
make sure.
should you include a thing that you know hasn't actually been verified to be Tyler
Yes,
Robinson?
you should. If we're trying to build a timeline, you should. Yeah.
You don't think that falls
And
under...
then you should remove it if someone somehow debunks it. But I think that there is very strong evidence that is where he was, and that
What's the strong evidence? Just the two people who said that they saw him?
I'm actually all good with being. I feel like I've sufficiently answered your question about how I got
All
the
right, fair enough.
information, what happened next, with the next stage of this investigation being somebody accessing knowing what his debit card was and confirming it. Yes, and I do believe that will happen. If it does not happen and it gets debunked, I'll remove it from my personal timeline that I share on my show. He's like the first person account of the server saying that he served him. They contacted the FBI. He shared his experience. He recognized Tyler Robinson on the news. He gave an interview. The owner I spoke to him. He said, he's like, that, none of that is positive evidence. I'm legitimately held to a higher standard than the FBI. Meanwhile, we got the lead investigator on the case up there, and they're asking him during the preliminary hearing, how did you know that the maroon person walking up the stairs was the same person as the individual who was wearing the black shirt later that day? And he says, they were both wearing Converse sneakers. Andrew says that's part of the overwhelming evidence. Okay, they're both. And me, did you call Visa and MasterCard? Beyond speaking to all of these people, beyond the receipts, did you call to confirm Visa with the merchant that this was in fact the Tyler Robinson who was up? No, actually I haven't done that, but you know what? My timeline is going to stay my timeline. I'm proud of my timeline. I'm a very organized person. My pantry is very clean. I love the Container Store. I use label makers for everything, even my seasonings in my cabinet. I have label makers in my refrigerator. So I will not allow you to tell me about how my timeline should be organized. That's what I want to say. I almost lost it there. Suburban moms who have organized pantries, stand up. At the end of the day, I am so embarrassed for Turning Point USA. I cannot imagine Erica hugging this person. I've got to show you guys more clips. And he is literally disgusting, right? And they thought this guy was going to be able to take me down. I was trained by Charlie Kirk, and they sent me Andrew Wilson. But I will say, on a positive note, it was bittersweet because it was just amazing to remember all of those things that Charlie told me not to do, not to fall for.
Work ready. It's more than a set of words. It's a mindset. Ram professional trucks and vans are built for people who don't punch a clock, but for people who punch up and punch back. Work ready means massive torque, serious towing, and the muscle to move what your business depends on. Work ready means hauling your entire operation with your tools locked and loaded. Only Ram Professional backs your business with America's best powertrain limited warranty. Ram Professional is always.
You see people get crushed in these sorts of debates who are overconfident, and then there's just like the one kid who asks a question that throws them off and it goes viral. So never underestimate your opponent. I didn't know what to expect, and I obviously not expect that he was just going to be one of these weird middle-aged men with gotcha clips. I thought he was genuinely going to read at least one of the case filings or know one of the charges, but it was like I said, good to go through that again, and to be studying and to do the thing that he said with the note cards. I did every single thing that Charlie told me to do, and to stay calm when they're trying to poke you, be aware of people that are trying to put you into these sorts of legal traps. And it genuinely, when it concluded, we were just like cheering. We were so happy. Bittersweet, obviously, because I never thought in any of that learning with Charlie that it would one day be me debating someone that his organization clearly sent. But such is life, and I'm happy that it is me that is exposing what his organization has become in the wake of his assassination. Anyway, we'll be right back after a brief break. All right, you guys, I want to pass along a heartfelt thank you from my friends over at Preborn. Their president, Dan Steiner, asked me to share just how grateful they are for faithful supporters like you. So far this year, because of generous partners, more than 50,000 babies have been saved from abortion. That means 50,000 lives changed and generations have been impacted. Every tax-deductible gift is used to rescue babies and share the hope of Jesus Christ with their mothers. In fact, this year alone, more than 8,000 women have made decisions to follow Christ, all because someone like you helped provide a free ultrasound. It costs just $28 to provide one life-saving ultrasound, and $15,000 can place an ultrasound machine in a pregnancy clinic where it can save countless lives for years to come. Dan's message is very simple. Thank you. Your generosity is saving lives for both Earth and eternity, and today there are still mothers that are waiting for that same life-changing moment. So if you'd like to give, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby, or visit preborn.com/Candace. Again, that's preborn.com/Candace. I also want to remind you guys about Ethos, because life has a way of changing your priorities when you least expect it. One day you're focused on what's next for you, the next you're thinking about a home, a family, and how to build a future that feels secure. As your world grows, so does your perspective. That shift in mindset is what led me to make life insurance a priority. It's one of those things that's easy to put off, but having it in place gives me peace of mind knowing the people I care about would have financial support if the unexpected ever happened. Getting covered today is simpler, faster, and more important. of Ethos, because with Ethos, you can apply online in just minutes. No medical.
Yeah. Candace is... I haven't seen her lie. Which means you can't beat her. If she's telling the truth and you're lying, you can't win. So... Duncan Park looks nice. Out here does. It's all open. Frisbee golf course. All those trees. Those obstacles. Oh, used to be a pond back there. I like that house. It's huge though. So flat.
But in our general sense of what Turning Point USA has become, we're united. Genuinely, he performed so badly, like not even the neocons would touch it. The best they could do for Andrew Wilson was to say, it was unwatchable. No one, I couldn't even watch it. I couldn't even watch it, so it doesn't even matter how anybody did. And everyone who was backing him just sort of backed off immediately, and they're doing their best, but they can't pretend. The memes have been exceptional from the left and from the right. They have been exceptional, mocking him. It's amazing to see. This man is not a conservative, by the way. I'm so sick of these like wannabe, like C-list people that come out and then just call themselves conservatives, but obviously live their lives in a way that is anything but. They're complete frauds. I'm going to go through some of my favorite memes. Andrew, first off, coming out and declaring that he won by asking, not ChatGPT, he asked Claude. And Claude told him, since every poll said he didn't win with humans, he then went to Claude and drummed up a conversation, I guess. And Claude told him he really was the winner. He really was the winner. Everyone who's a human didn't like you, but the robot community loves you. And he did tweet this. Every AI source will say I won.
Every drive depends on one thing. Brakes you can trust. That's why drivers count on Pep Boys. Our certified technicians check every detail with a free evaluation with your brake service, lifetime pad and shoe replacement.
And we all know the establishment is behind Turning Point USA, but this is just the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. He literally crashed Marcus, by the way. During the debate, I didn't know that Polymarket had odds on whether or not Tyler Robinson would be convicted. And during the debates, the odds crashed. That represents our debate day, when you see that line going down. That is how poorly he performed. Tyler Robinson, convicted of homicide, dropped into the 30s. I think it hit 34% during our debate, which was positively hilarious. But I'm going to show you some of my favorite memes. So you might have seen on the thumbnail, if you are not following this account, I think it's Wear Forbidden Clothing is the @ handle. I want to make sure I get that correct. They are so funny. For years, I've been following them. They are so funny. But this video that they created, this AI video, which went viral this weekend, and which is represented, as I said, on my thumbnail, just tickled me so much. Of Erica calling in Andrew after that abysmal performance. Take a listen and a watch of this.
Wait, I can explain.
Shabbat Shalom, Andrew.
I want to see this.
What?
We invested a lot in you.
I was having nicotine withdrawal. The chair was uncomfortable. I barely slept. My foot.
Silence!
She asked you to name one of the 7 charges. You said positive evidence 47 times.
It was a framework.
47 times, Andrew. Bring me the jar.
No, please, not the pickles.
Jars wide shut. And just to correct that, the handle is @ Wear Forbidden on X. And the reason why it's Jars Wide Shut is because this goes back to a moment where he was being respectful to a woman who couldn't open a jar, I think it was actually of olives or pickles, on the whatever podcast, and he was smoking a cigarette, and then she said, okay, then you open it, and he couldn't open it. So now he's kind of called Pickle Boy, and that, again, his false bravado all the time is what gets him into these circumstances. I absolutely loved that. I also loved the stages of grief. Everybody grieves differently. So he's grieving by first talking to Claude. The 5 stages of debate grief. This is from @AlphaApproved. They write denial. I totally won that debate. Number 2, anger. That was rigged, biased, unfair. That's actually going to happen. His wife. Number 3, bargaining. Okay, maybe I lost, but Candace is worse. Number 4, depression. Why do I even debate? And number 5, acceptance, which will come, which will say, he will come out and say, all right, maybe I should have prepared. Maybe I should have known what the charges. We are at phase 1, and we are also at phase 2, which I can give you an example of his wife trying to suggest that we maybe rigged the mic pieces is crazy. Okay, I have one in my ear right now. It allows us to hear what the producers are saying. As I told you, his guy Rob, who was very professional and kind, so no shade to Rob, was sitting next to them, and that's why he was saying, could you pull a clip or whatever. His team was right next to my team, and these earpieces do not work beyond 15 feet out of the control room. So they just, and Andrew will tell you that every time he got up, he had to reset it. They don't work. So there's no one else that could possibly be talking in your ear because of the structure of our walls. So anyway, Rachel responds, who's his like horrific wife, responds to somebody trying to pretend that I was receiving intel on that last question, because they're still coping over this. Was Candace Owens being fed answers? Something about the debate caught my attention. Both Candace and Andrew appear to be wearing in-ear monitors. So what are these actually used for? And he kind of goes through all this. I literally turned these people into a conspiracy theorist by the end of it. He started off by calling us conspiracy theorists, and then by the end of it, he was going through my phone and thought that I was texting people for answers. That's amazing. That's a flawless victory. That's a flawless victory. To end it with him suggesting a conspiracy, or what I was actually doing when he came back in my chair, because I barely got up. I literally only got up one time he went up every break. I did not get up. I was tweeting. You guys saw me tweet right before that. I sent one tweet. I texted nobody during the entire debate because I was focused. I was locked in. But then I was like, I'm going to send a funny tweet because I feel pretty confident I won this. And when he came back, he saw me doing that and thought that I texted someone, which is very funny. And guess what? The answer to a conspiracy theory, I demonstrated for him. Here's my phone. Just answer the question. Make the person feel comfortable. You don't have to go crazy. And this is the one thing Turning Point USA does not want to do at all, is answer any questions. They just want to send these debate bros, I guess, out. But this was absolutely hilarious. That I thought that meme was fantastic. We also created our own meme because I used to be anti Turning Point USA shills, but he's different. I don't want anybody referring to Andrew Wilson as a paid shill. Andrew Wilson's not a paid shill. This is like the Drizzy meme. TPUSA sending paid shills, not cool. TPUSA sending shills that pay, with it. We're with it. send more, Turning Point. That's how you'll show them. Pay $100,000 an hour to be embarrassed. Genius. Great idea. That's amazing. That's my new rate, $100,000 if you want me to embarrass you. He must be into that or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And pretended, like tried to add to it, like I know that they had headpieces, but I'm not really sure why they had these headpieces. I believe the contract stipulated that each of them was allowed to wear an earpiece. That's just a lie. Why do they lie so much? Why do they lie all the time? No. The earpieces, which he and I were sharing left and right, were just a producer. Our producers, we all heard the exact same thing, and PBD had a direct line to them. Then this quote was hilarious because obviously Steven Crowder is somehow invested in this, and just never growing up. And when he did I guess he was on the phone with Andrew Wilson right after the debate, was speaking to him. He kind of tried to imply like one way that we tried to hurt him was by not providing him with hair and makeup, because he looked like he was sweating, like that was our fault thing. Take a listen to this absurd exchange.
Did they Nixon JFK you? Because she has a full stylist and makeup crew. Did they give you makeup and no. You look a little bit. You look a little bit shiny. You look a little shiny. You look a little shiny.
Yeah, it looks a little shiny. It happens.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. It's like, first and foremost, we do not have, like, again, asserting something confidently and lying. I know they have wardrobe. We do not have, and nor have we ever had wardrobe. We do not have a full-time makeup artist. We do not have a full-time hairstylist, none of that. So in between takes, I take care of myself always. That's it. Everybody knows that my cousin does my hair. She's the one that gives me the blowouts and takes care of my hair. People have known this for years, since before I was even a podcaster. She has been taking care of my hair. And our makeup artist is actually off that day. She does a glam and go though. So it's like in the morning, she comes in and then she leaves. So this being a point, like as if PBD, somebody was coming out and flying in and making him look good and making me look good, that this is how much these people were coping. Like trying to find a conspiracy to make it seem like there was something that was not fair. If you look greasy, pull up a mirror instead of going out and having a cigarette and having a smoke and, you know, powder your own face. I don't know what to tell you. We're a small team and we're just not, we don't care about things like that. We don't want to spend a bunch of money on things to make ourselves feel important. And my favorite of the copes was his wife conceding exactly what us conspiracy theorists have been saying since the very beginning, is that actually the grifters are these people. They know nothing about the case at all. They just want to go on TV and say, oh, this person's scared of me, this person won't debate. They don't know anything. So she writes this long tweet, and it's right there in yellow. She says, of course Candace will know the details better. She admits I knew the details better. She's been covering this day in and day out for 11 months and doing practically nothing else. Andrew had about 6 days to prepare. There's no way he was going to beat her on having more knowledge of the details. Goodness, Rachel. Wow, this is a wife that, like, so she admits that I beat him on that, A, which stands against his I won the debate, but also she admits he doesn't care about this. He walked into Turning Point USA headquarters in June and came out flashing around money and suddenly...
It's official. The Jersey Mike's chicken salad sub is back by popular demand.
Guess it's time to unfreeze Danny.
Hey, I said keep me frozen until the...
This is no longer... I mean, it is crazy to me that if you just go through the clips and learning about Andrew and Rachel Wilson, this is who they tied their horse to, this is who they're feeding information to, that any person would willfully donate to that any person would want their child to sign up for this conservative organization that is not representing conservative principles. My opinion, by the way, what's my positive evidence for it? Andrew Wilson. Is that positive evidence? I don't know. What does it all mean? Can it be my opinion that Turning Point USA is a dumpster fire? Because that's what it is. I do want to address this very quickly. I realize we are now way over time. I don't know if we're going to have time for book club because I didn't realize I had so many words to say. But people were randomly, as soon as I said I would take it. So first it's scared, she's scared, she's scared. There's money on the table. And that's what I'm doing wrong. I'm being scared, not taking the money. Then I take the money, exactly what he offers, $200K, and I'm a bad guy because how could I take the money? These people are insane. They're just insane. There's no way to make them happy. They can't leave you alone and let you just investigate the case. Because the money's on the table, and then they chastise you for taking the money. And they were all instantly like, Candace needs to establish a trust for everyone. Like the people outside of Michael Knowles, people that I absolutely despise, all saying this in unison, that I need to donate this money and establish a trust for Charlie's children. And then people just randomly telling me what I should do with the money. Like, for example, this person, multi-millionaire Candace Owens, should donate her victory money to Tyler Robinson's defense if she really thinks that he's innocent. Andrew Wilson put his money where his mouth is. Why doesn't Candace? Like...
No, I got some more. How are you? Let's do it. All right.
Offer Tyler Robinson publicly, go across things and say, I'm going to prove to people that I think he's innocent, I'm going to give $300. I never did that. I don't do that. Those sorts of things. That's not what I do. I'm not braggadocious, and nor would any person who knows the least bit about finance be so stupid as to spend $300,000 to have a conversation with someone who debates for free. Always. Do my annual debates with Piers Morgan. They're for free. Been debating all across college campus. I was doing that for free. I've had debates with Rabbi Shmuley, who I can't stand, on Piers Morgan for free. And so it's just so interesting that actually my entire life, all these people ever do is message me kindly and respectfully and ask for a debate. No one has to throw money around. That's how it works. I've hosted debates. There's been no money involved. This is unique because Turning Point USA just hates me this much, and we're obviously Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett were retweeting him as he was going after me and offering more and more money. And now they think the solution to that is for me to open a trust. You know, it's not, but it feels like money laundering. The organization that's hunting me, you want me to then give the money to the person who would be in control of that would, at first, of course, would be Erica. First and foremost, what I want to say is there are a few things I despise more than fake altruism. People who do charity as a part of a PR program and not because it's necessary or needed. And Charlie Kirk's children have been multimillionaires while he was alive, and that increased in his death. Many people opened trusts, raised money. The last thing that Charlie Kirk's children need is more money. What they need is a stable parent, and unfortunately, I can't give them that. Right? I can't give them that. Mom doesn't want to be home. Dad can't be home. And the one thing they need is not a bunch of influencers using them as a talking point and suggesting that 300 more K could plausibly make a difference. And like I said, there's something about it that just feels icky. Like the very people who sent the person to hunt you are basically trying to create a peer pressure campaign for you to give the money back. Like that's not going to stand for me. And so instead, what I would like to announce, doing with my money thus far, what I've decided, other than the fact that I did go to Waffle House this weekend, is I'm going to take care of the people who took care of me. as this organization has fixated, sent influencers, is a part and parcel of these group chats that are coming together, Protect Erica Kirk, of people who have attempted to make our children feel unsafe, that they have gotten behind, retweeted, supported. I'm going to look out for those people. People like my sister. You want an organization that's going to get money from me, it's going to be the Catholic Church, the priests that took care of me emotionally when I was coming apart with the realization that Charlie and everything that he had worked for, he's been betrayed. Charlie has been betrayed. Everybody can see that. You betray him every single day when you do this. You betray who he was. You betray the friendships that he had. You lie constantly about who he was, about the things that he was thinking. I am not going to take any instruction from Turning Point USA or any of their affiliates or any of these neocon dogs that they send out on what I should do with the money. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, I'm going to take care of my sisters. I'm going to give money to the Catholic Church, and I'm going to decide what I want to do. That's it. You were the ones who offered the money. You were the ones who retweeted it.
Okay. So, this is for Candace. Candace, I know I've said a lot of mean things about you, but you said you was gonna
she retweeted it, and so it's therefore mine. You can skip all of your fake altruism. Why don't you guys give more money to that organization? Because the direction that they're headed, I don't see that this is going to be an organization in 10 years down the road. I see it crashing and burning like everybody else does. And like I said, for the first time ever, the left and the right are united in their disgust for what this organization has become. That is not the feeling that people had on the right, especially in the And that's all I'm going to say about that. We'll be right back after the brief break. All right, you guys, do you owe back taxes? Do you have years of unfiled returns? Maybe you file every year and you still can't get ahead because the balance keeps growing. Maybe you withdrew money for 401k or an IRA and suddenly got hit with a tax bill that you never expected. Whatever caused the problem, one thing is certain, the IRS penalties and interest adding up every single month. If you don't have a plan now, you could end up owing even more next tax season. Before the IRS starts sending more letters, garnishing wages, or freezing your bank account, call Tax Network USA. They've been helping taxpayers nationwide for more than 15 years, resolving back taxes, unfiled returns, and serious IRS problems. So whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their team has resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. Right now, they're offering a free IRS investigative call to find out exactly what you owe and what options you have to fix it. So call 866-686-1651 or visit tnusa.com/Candace. Again, that's tnusa.com/Candace. And I want to remind you guys about American Financing because everyday expenses keep climbing and the high credit card interest is not making life any easier. If your budget is feeling squeezed, there's a smarter way to take back control. If you're a homeowner, your home equity is financial. American Financing can help you consolidate high interest credit card debt so that you have some breathing room. Timing matters now more than ever. With a strong chance of an interest rate hike this September, waiting could cost you thousands. And with rates in the fives, there's no better time to find out how much you could be saving. So ditch those 20% interest rates by consolidating. You can slash your monthly obligations. In fact, American Financing borrowers save an average of $800 a month. Imagine what that kind of cash flow could do for your family. There are zero upfront fees, and you may even delay up to 2 mortgage payments. So lock in your lower rate before September. Call 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. That's AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. Okay, I also want to let you guys know, we got so many messages, please sell the t-shirt. I've explained to you, but I cannot understand it for you. Exhausted trying to explain this to him. We do have that available on our website. So you go to GetSowens.com and you can have that t-shirt. We have available. We also made that a sweatshirt. I can explain to you, but I can understand it for you. T-shirt.
Sorry. I'm a bitch.
And we also give it up this. This is my second favorite shirt. If you know, you know. It's in maroon. This is my wear your second favorite shirt. If you've learned nothing from this podcast, did you bad stuff, you wear your second favorite shirt, not your first favorite shirt. So we have some good merch that's available on the website. And that is, of course, the easiest way to support us and support the work that we do and the investigation, which we can now refocus on, which was really none of their business at all. Why Turning Point USA doesn't want people investigating and exploring other leads in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Boggles the mind. It really boggles the mind. Top comments from the great debate. GoMax Everyday writes, let me begin by reading this message from my sponsor, Turning Point USA. Yes, that is what it felt like. It was absurd. It had nothing to do with the debate claims. Know your psyop. Second message, 75 to 85% confident Tyler did it, is literally reasonable doubt. I am so glad. I didn't even look at the comments. My producer told us that you guys clocked it as well. It's crazy that they just concede the entire debate right at the beginning. So yes, you have a right to pursue other leads. No, you do not have to reach out to Visa and MasterCard and speak to the merchant to do so. I want you guys to know that. I may, guys, have to, I didn't realize for some overtime on book clubs. We may need to do that tomorrow. Finishing the book, and thank you to Book Club for allowing me to bump Friday to accommodate the great debate. Comments from today's episode. True Detective writes, Andrew Wilson's rules of the debate. Avoid knowing the facts of the case, pretend to be intelligent and qualified, and don't mind that your left foot is nodding in agreement with Candace throughout the conversation. And question, when Andrew's wife makes him a sandwich, is he expected to open the pickle bar, pickle jar? I mean, that relationship is just on its face toxic. Like I said, you should go look up clips of that, like her disgusting disgusting mouth and the things that she says in the whatever podcast and how she speaks, and they're branding themselves as Orthodox Christians. And he said on some stream that his wife went in and spoke to the executives at Turning Point USA. That's why I say Turning Point USA is just over. Like, we can't, this Christian psyop has to end. We just have to stop pretending. Erica on her face is, I can't get a sentence out without saying the Lord, the Lord, the Lord. She's hugging Andrew Wilson. These are who is being brought into our organization and given money to train people to debate. I'm sorry people are clocking that. I'm sorry. It's not positive. It's not positive evidence, but it feels like some evidence that the whole brand is fraudulent now. It feels like evidence that Turning Point USA is now essentially trying to sell people faux Christianity while they behave in just the most detestable way behind the scenes. And now it's in front of the scenes. Like I said, I can't wait for him to drop that message. They have themselves in a pickle with that message. He says he's dropping it this week. Do your thing, Andrew. Do your thing. We Woke Now writes, in the words of my grandmother, he don't know no better. Way to stay above the muck. Yes, I was.
So, Erica, what are we going to do now? Because a great white hope, Andrew Wilson, is obviously defeated in the arena of the gladiators by a woman that's pregnant. Oh my God, we're dead. Oh, Erica, what are we going to do now? Because a great white hope. Oh, Erica, what are we going to do now? Because a great white hope, Andrew Wilson, is obviously defeated in the arena of the gladiators by a woman that's pregnant. Oh my God, we're dead. Oh, Erica, what are we going to do now?
Just not going to meet him on his level. He came across as petty, and just, these men are too old for this. Like, you know what I mean? He's almost 50. Steven Crowder's 40. Like, grow up. Be professional. What are you all doing with these accounts that you're dedicating to tweeting about Candace Owens 90 times a day? Find something that gives you purpose and go after it. I don't know you. I don't know these people. Like, it's crazy. I literally have never met Steven Crowder. So that entire obsession with me is just because I covered when he was berating his wife and said it was gross, because it was. It just was. Chris Angelo writes, one thing that is actually overwhelming is how proud Charlie is of you as he smiles from heaven. The Holy Spirit truly gave you the patience and discernment needed for the debate. Keep going, Max, for the truth and for Charlie. Christ is King. Thank you for saying that. And like I said, that was the bittersweet thing, is I was reminded of just, I really feel like I have this, Charlie. No, you should still go over everything, because it just takes one question, and for someone to throw you off your game, you have to stay updated. And I did all of that, and I'm glad that it worked out. Jenna wrote, you were amazing in the debate. I offered my daily mass and rosary for you on Friday. I'm so proud of you. Such a role model for my four daughters. Christ is King. Yeah, that's one of the first things I did. I went to a Saturday mass and just thanked the Lord, just for the ability to communicate in a way and to have the opportunity to expose what we all know is going on. And that's, by the way, the real purpose of what Andrew was doing, was to distract us. With nothingness, they brought no new people to their side. It just the same establishment media trying to convince you that you should not believe your own eyes and your ears. And that's what we have right now. That's what we're living right now. Riley England writes, Candace, what a masterclass for how gracefully and brilliantly you defend your convictions with facts. We all know you did this for Charlie. You displayed a restraint in a class that I look up to, and you clearly owned pickles. LOL, St. Joan of Arc, pray for us. Indeed, that is my patron saint. And I hope that people did learn that you just stay calm. And yeah, I could have forced him and been like, I want to just talk about the case. But like I said, I actually know that my audience is smarter than that. I believe in my audience. I know people can see through that. They saw right through him in the same way that I saw through him live. Maddening to hear him keep telling us stuff happened 5 seconds ago that didn't happen 5 seconds ago, but say it with like smugness and arrogance. You said this. No, I literally didn't say that. Like, you don't have magical powers here, sir. Zamet writes, I think Andrew Wilson was hoping to open.
This call is being recorded.
How's this gate? So I can go right here.
because tomorrow we will be sentencing Turning Point USA to more truth, which is what they want, more truth and transparency, right? You send an absolute slob to my home to debate me, to disrespect me by not just being honest and forthright about who we wanted to bring here, to violate rules of no filming where my children play. We drop more truth. That's it. That's all. You ever say that? That's it. That's all. Anyway, that will be tomorrow. I am already late on book club. Can we do it tomorrow, Sky? Can we just check the calendar? I feel like I have. When am I doing? I think I'm doing Dave Smith's show, right? Looks like. Okay, hold on, guys. I gotta get you on the calendar. Just give me a second. Wednesday cannot do. Yeah, but let's do Thursday. Yeah, because I think I want to pack going away with the husband for our anniversary, number 7. Just casually have a conversation like that, right? Can I do this? I think we should do Thursday. Okay, perfect. All right, you guys. Book club people, I will see you on Thursday. Get excited, you guys, for tomorrow. I love when the punishment is more truth. Your punishment is more truth. Turning Point USA. We will see you guys then.
Alright, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. So, we are going to be looking at 2 new pieces of footage from the actual scene of the crime at Utah Valley University. I wasn't sure if people were still paying attention over there because I saw the same. So Dan, Heavy Duty Country did a video today that's gone mega viral. And it is showing this clip where somebody snuck onto the Losi building roof and showed what I think both of us agree, and I'm sure you will agree as well, is a very serious issue with the idea that Tyler Robinson took the shot from the Losi building, like a huge issue, like an unsolvable issue, if you ask me. So there's that. I saw it this weekend and I was kind of like, what's today? Oh, today's Monday. Yeah, I saw it this weekend and I was kind of like, do people still think there's like a high enough probability that he shot anyone that I should cover this? And I minimized it. And apparently there is. So I'm going to get my thoughts in also, okay? Now there's another video about the stairwell, very interesting, and we're going to get into that too. But first, I just wanted to show you guys something here. Now, real quick, okay? I'm going to be doing a new piece of content about the Wilsons based on some stuff that I saw last night, and I was like, oh wow, this is a lot weirder than I realized. Stuff related to them marketing their daughter's body count on the internet. You heard that right. You heard that right, okay? When I show you this later, you're gonna be like, what? They were trying to find a Groyper, Nick Fuentes fan, to marry her. And they were like, hey guys, she's got a goose egg body count. Hey, I know somebody who would have loved that little piece of tail. He's currently in jail in Miami, though, right next to his brother, getting extradited to the United Kingdom. So, you know what it is, right? You know what it is. Well, you don't, because where that story goes is insane. But first, anyway, so we're gonna take a look at that. Now, if you've been watching my content lately and you've not subscribed yet, I totally understand. I don't think of it a lot of the time also, but if you would take a moment and subscribe to the channel, that's very helpful to me. And if you like this video, also very helpful. And if you comment on the video, I will read it, I promise, as long as, you know, I read a lot of the comments. I'll just say that. I don't want to pretend I read them all, because I don't, but I do read a fair amount of them, so there's a high probability that I will see it. But let's rock. Okay, so watch this real quick before I explain why we're watching this again.
I'll respond to every question I ask you. And by the way, the other thing is like...
It's out of your way. I want it to look like...
This call is being recorded.
Hello?
So that people can fairly accept.
Shout to me and Carol, buddy.
That's the situation. So you have your way. I will not answer the question.
Totally fair with me. So you good with her asking the question?
He said no.
Waiting for the clip. Okay, so we'll wait for the clip first. Okay. You guys have it in fact? Okay, beautiful.
So that was the part where she said, can I ask a question? He said no. And apparently there's a misunderstanding because she said we're just going to stick to the contract. So both myself and, I don't know, people, when Dan and I did our live stream, someone said that she contractually was not allowed to ask questions, and we were basing that, when they said that, I assumed it was right also because in that exchange, he says, we're just going to stick to the contract, and she's like, so can I ask a question? He says no, which is, I thought was insane at the time, and now even crazier because wait until you see what actually was behind this.
Oh my god. I'm so glad Candace didn't break the silence here. Because it's just so good, dude. Oh my god, I'm like literally crying. And I've already seen this clip like 3 times. They literally go through the craziest awkward silence in like debate history. Clearly spurred on by Andrew's flummoxing discombobulation that his team is trying to save him, but they don't have a clip ready, even though they're trying to save him with a clip that they should have ready. So they go silent to bring in the clip.
What is this?
This call is being recorded.
Hello?
Hello? Were you trying to get through the gate?
Oh, I already put the
Hello?
package. I put the package outside your door.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem. God bless you.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye-bye.
That gets really awkward. And so then Candace is like, hey, I'll save it. I'll ask a question. And then they kind of go back and forth for a second. And Andrew's like, no, you can't ask a question. We're going to do this by the contract, and we're going to wait for the clip.
And what's hilarious about that is the reason they were fumbling around with the clip is because Candace called out that all of the clips were about Erica, which means that, what do you guys think that means, by the way? Just as a real quick aside, what do you think that means? Think it was them setting up for a lawsuit, maybe? Trying to get her to say things, you know?
Yep.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I can see the reflection in my thing. This makes it look like my office is crazy messy. It's not messy at all. I've got like a handful of things on my desk. Just stop judging me, okay? Gosh, look it. I need these.
There are trucks, and then there's the 2026 GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months plus $1,500 purchase cash on Sierra models.
Ease. It's hot. What if I get greasy? I look terrible on camera. Oh my God, what an idiot. Anyway, so we scroll up here and check this out. This is only made funnier by the fact that there was absolutely no contract clause preventing me from asking questions. Okay? Or any contract clause which allowed him to pepper me with questions uninterrupted. He just randomly crashed out and made that up. I sensed he was emotional, so I just allowed it. I'm just a nice girl. Ian Carroll's, dude. She super chatted Baron also last night, last night. And she super chatted him $50 and just said, here's some of Andrew's money. Oh man, oops, that's coming later, guys. That is not, okay? It's not what we were referencing. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna move over here, Okay, we are going to take a look at this, and then, oops, gosh, man, what are you doing? Oh, there it is. We're going to look at this, and we're going to look at this. But first, we're going to do this. So this is the roof shot that we are talking about that Heavy Duty Country showed on his viral video, and check this out. See if you notice anything that would be a challenge for a shooter from the roof of the Locio. This is serious. Watch.
Alright, so we're on the roof of the Losi Centre building. Hope you all appreciate the lengths we've gone to try and get you the facts and the truth in this Charlie Kirk investigation. The person doing this is risking a little bit. Just gives you an idea how big the rocks are on that first level. So this is where the screwdriver was found, apparently later on after they removed it out of the bush. This goes on to the second level. He was more to the left of this, but we'll get there in a minute. So this gravel here is apparently very tightly compact, doesn't leave footprints. That's the ledge. And moving over towards where he would have been lying in a prone position. Around about here. You can see the courtyard straight down there. Everybody on that Hall of Flags rooftop walkway would have seen him. That's how high the lip is, and you would have had to have your barrel on that lip. There's no
Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me just.
I'm sorry, would have seen him.
This is a man, right?
That's how high the lip is, and you would have had.
What on earth is going on with his fingernails? Those are manicured on the thumb and the pinky, but not. Am I imagining? That is really weird. Almost looks like someone was going to dip their fingernail into something and then, you know what I mean? Jeez, I need to cut my nail. It's not even that bad. It's bad enough that it's probably going to cut my training partners if I don't do it though. So I'm going to. But yeah, the only reason I would ever see a man have nails like that would be because they are secretly going to certain kinds of clubs at night, or, and that's crazy. Who would advertise like that? But they're manicured. That is so weird. Sorry to derail this conversation, but that's weird.
Had to have your barrel on that lip. There's no way around it. That's his view he would have had. And you can see how tall the lip is.
He is absolutely right. You would have to have your barrel on the lip. And unless I'm imagining what I saw in the supposed video with the guy in the big black parka jacket, didn't seem like he was that close. And it also didn't seem like he had a rifle barrel over the edge. But there is another thing to consider that is very important. I'm going to let him finish though.
And then they're out of here before they get arrested. And they're not jumping off the roof. Thank you very much for getting this video.
I'm not sure what he means by they're not jumping off the roof. However, one thing that I will point out is you can't know for 100% sure that that was there on September 10th, given that it's been a year. The likelihood it wasn't is very slim to zero. But I'm just going to point out that this is a year later. You know what I mean? That's what I would say if I was Tyler Robinson. I'm sorry, if I was trying to argue this in court and I was going to point to any kind of uncertainty in that evidence, I would say, well, how do we know that that was like that 1 year ago? If they say, yeah, it hasn't changed, then you go, all right, well, that's a wrap then. You know, that seems like that's a wrap, because that seems like that shot would be not possible from the given that lip is right. I don't know what other conclusion you could make, you know. But I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the reason I didn't cover this immediately is because it's like, do we really need like more, you know, like do we really need more evidence that it's extremely unlikely that Tyler Robinson shot him, or was he, who knows if he was even on the roof of the Losi building? And if he was on the Losi building, who knows if he even had a rifle? Who knows if that's even where Charlie was shot from? Who knows if Charlie was even shot? Who knows if he's, you know what I mean? The unknowns are overwhelming. However, that puts a huge hole in the shot from the Losi building, period, you know? But let's check this one out too, because you can check this out. So this says prosecution caught mirroring Tyler Robinson's stairway camera footage. Okay. Court footage level 2 descending on the stairs on the right side of the video. In reality, the stairs are on the left side. Okay. Not only compressed the video to look skinnier, they reversed it on the stairs. Why? All right. So let's watch this together. Check this out.
When you stay with Choice Hotels, you get more of what you value. Like at the Comfort Inn, where kids value breakfast with options.
I don't need options, just waffles.
Watch this together. Check this out.
All right, you guys, we caught the feds in another lie. So this is level 3, parking level 3 at UVU, where they have Tyler Robinson coming around the corner, coming down the stairwell. There's the camera right over here. But in the Fed version of their footage.
Okay, so that does put a dent in what we covered last week, where it was on Candace's episode, where she said we were talking about whether that's Lance, because Lance is left-handed, and showed that clip, and it appeared that the person put their hand into their left pocket, their left hand into their left pocket, but it was reversed. But again, that means nothing. I grab my phone with I'm right-handed. I grab my phone with my left hand all the time, and for him that would be vice versa. You know, you throw your phone in your pocket. I mean, I think I'm actually almost like equally likely to have it in one or the other pocket. I don't even think I favor my right pocket necessarily for my phone. I probably do. I don't know. I've never thought about it.
This stairwell, which is actually on the left, on their version, it's on the right. So they have completely reversed this image. And not only have they reversed the image, they have also doctored the timestamps. Because if you reverse the image, the timestamps would be reversed as well. So something ain't adding up here. Here's level 2 proving that the stairwell is actually on the...
Whoa. Okay. That's weird. That's weird. Because, I mean, unless the security footage is always mirrored and so it would show on the other side, what possible reason would there be for it to be flipped? And if you flip it in like editing software, yeah, I mean, if you mirror it, then the timestamp, which is stamped at the top, I mean, I guess it's possible that in the security footage you can choose to mirror it, and then the timestamp would remain the same. But why would you do that? What possible reason would you do that? Why would you mirror security footage? And also, why is there not a single clear shot of his face? Let me tell you something real quick. This is just a quick aside. Okay. So I get it, right? Like I get it that sometimes security footage is kind of janky, whatever. I don't, cheap ass places paying for like low resolution video. I don't even know if that's even accurate anymore. But what I do know is that I used to work, okay, one of my most recent jobs before I started doing this full time was I worked at a company whose name I will omit just out of respect for people who might, whatever. But it was a very, very, very large satellite data company. Defense contractors, just had a lot of defense contracts, but what we did was we provided satellite imaging, some of it classified, some of it not.
And the developments going on with the recording. Do the Feds have a real defamation case? Are you familiar with that? I'm not. Are you familiar with the defamation case?
No, but I think I heard you say due to free have a good defamation.
Oh, okay. So here's what's happening. So the Edmiston, the boy who was on the phone call, he's trying to sue Ben Crump and content creators and anybody who got something negative to say about him or point the finger and says, I think he did it. They're trying to sue. His lawyer is trying to sue.
Who lawyer? The person that called the boat company? Or the...
Right. His lawyer, yeah, right. Now, but what I want to know specifically is like how does like a civil suit play into the criminal side of things? Like when somebody call a civil suit, does it have any type of impact on the criminal case?
Well, I do car accidents, I do some civil cases, but I don't do much of one. This is what I remember. I think that, you know, the same way nobody's talking to the police, they probably need to go get him pulled suit. Why is that, you ask? Because in a defamation suit, if you say I did,
you're breaking up really badly. It's choppy. It's really choppy.
It's choppy?
Really choppy.
What about now?
You're great. That's it.
Okay. So in a defamation suit, if I'm correct, and I believe I am, if you say something, if you defame my name, right? Number one, I believe I have to show that it's not true, right? So to me, using my legal imagination here, you know, as bad as this investigation is going, right? As shoddy as it is, you know, the lack of effort, the lack of urgency, etc., right? Bringing that to the forefront may call for some people to look deeper into the situation. So you better watch what he's doing. You see what I'm saying? At some point, you know, he gonna have to show he ain't do nothing. Well, how do you show you ain't do nothing? You gotta show what happened. You gotta tell what happened. You gotta let people in on what your involvement was. So I don't think that's very smart of him. It sounds like a lawyer to get $1, because the lawyer ought to know, well, buddy, ain't you trying to be silent on this?
Right.
Like, ain't you y'all trying to hope this passes y'all by? But you bringing it to the forefront of everybody's attention.
Yeah, this is my...
Oh my goodness. Oh my. Before I started rapping, if people heard my story, I bet you'd be like, oh my goodness. Every now and then I get musical Tourette's, and every now and then I'll tap into some rap music. For the most part, I do my best to abstain from it. But this is one of those oh my goodness moments. Because we have Roseanne Barr having a conversation with Tucker Carlson talking about the elites are non-humans. And we have ample evidence to believe that they're non-humans because they refer to other people outside of them as humans. They'll say things like, we're not sure what we're going to do with so many useless humans. Only an entity that wasn't a human would refer to humans as humans. They would say people, they would say all kind of other words, but the simple fact that they refer to us as humans, as if there's something that has transcended humanity, lets you know that there's something weird and strange going on with them, ladies and gentlemen. There's weird and strange things going on in the earth, and you should be aware of it. So let's start with Roseanne and Tucker talking. Now, this is prior to Tucker coming to the realization that we're dealing with fallen angels and or demons or things from the second heaven. If you go back and listen to Tucker Carlson now, he's just saying it. He's like, oh yeah, this is devil, these damn demons. He said, he sound like me. It's a damn demon.
Well, they think they're more than human.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, I go, they're not even human because humans care about their environment and their neighbors, and humans care about, you know, other people's as children, and humans care about living things,
Yes.
but they don't do any of that. And he goes, because they think they're more than humans.
Oh, I noticed.
They
That's why
think
they
they're
want to live forever.
royals. They think they're like royals in a rarefied sphere of DNA or something above us. Like, did they come from another planet? You know, when
I
you
can't
hear
speculate
people
on
talk, I can't either. But
This is the podcast to speculate on it, though.
well, because some people say, you know, a lot of religious people, they're into some deep rabbit holes of things, and I don't know.
Well, you can see why they are, though. I mean, if I'm speaking for myself, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know if this is the Nephilim.
I was going to say,
I don't know.
I know.
Here we go.
That's what I said.
Let me just say. I said I don't know
Right.
anything about that stuff. Okay, I'm a very ordinary middle-aged man who spent his life following politics and
Right.
theology, but I do know that whatever's going on is very deep.
Yeah.
I've spent my whole life around politicians and seen decisions get made, interviewed people who run things, and what's happening now is qualitatively different. So different that it's not in the same category at all.
No.
This is hurting people for the sake of hurting them. This is lying for the sake of lying. This is, as the devil
Power
hates
for the
holy
sake.
water, they hate the truth. You tell the truth about anything, it almost doesn't matter what it's about. It doesn't have to be about the next election.
That's
It can
right.
just be about history, for example. Telling the truth about history. Why should that offend
Well,
anybody?
that really pisses
Periods where everyone's dead. And we can't, of course, change the past, so there's nothing really at stake for us now, right? You would think people would welcome open-minded historical inquiry to get closer to what actually happened in whatever period or in whatever event. They hate that.
Yes,
Well, what are you watching? You're watching someone who hates the truth because it's true. And there's no possible profit motive that is driving that. There's no political end that is driving that. They hate the truth because it's true. Now we're in the realm of theology.
Yeah, we are.
That's all that is. I mean, and I
think
can't
so,
possibly explain it, but that's what that is.
Is it within the responsibility that this movement that we're fighting now is actually satanic?
What do you mean in the realm of possibility?
Well,
Yeah.
because there's another explanation.
No, it's the definition.
Or it's infiltration to destroy.
Of course,
America.
because it's not, look,
Or both.
what's not satanic is like the Sicilian mafia.
Right.
You know, they pimp out women,
Right.
I understand that.
Yes.
You know, what we're seeing now is not explicable. It's not, why would a billionaire, you know, you have $1 billion, you can't spend it all.
Right.
It's much deeper than that. And why would you hate things that are true that don't affect you?
Right.
You can't stand to hear something that's just objectively true.
Which means
What is that?
you're evil.
The hatred of truth is the hallmark of darkness. Obviously.
Yes, it is, absolutely. Well, because because I think it's I think it's a very dark system that was
Yes.
created over I don't know how many centuries, but you know, I think it goes back to really dark times, and it's never disappeared. It's like they've been building and building for a really long
Well, you
time.
do see, I was thinking this yesterday, I flew from Europe yesterday, so of course I had like 10 hours to read, which is usually bad, but I was thinking yesterday that there are certain periods in history where people become, I was thinking about the destruction of the temple in 70 AD in Jerusalem.
Two temples.
Yeah, 2 temples, but that was the last one that was destroyed by the Romans during the revolt. And there are these weird explosions of irrational hatred, rage, violence, where no one's actually winning, like they're killing for the sake of killing. Yes, and you see these throughout history, and like, what is that?
Yeah.
No one's actually benefiting from this. Killing people, making them suffer, humiliating them, torturing them, burning things down that you could steal, but you burn them anyway?
Yeah.
You saw this in our cities a couple
Yes.
of years ago. Like, what is that?
Terror.
But it's not rational. Like a terrorist, like ETA, the Basque separatist group, like they killed policemen so they could get a little closer to control, which was separating from Spain.
Makes
I
sense.
get it.
Ooh,
It makes
big
sense.
bucks. Right.
But murdering people just to murder them, burning their stuff when you could steal it, that's again a spiritual phenomenon.
Yes.
Well, to
No,
go on
sirs.
TikTok, it's like the Andy Warhol thing, 15 seconds of fame. I'm sure he said 15 minutes, but for the 15 seconds of TikTok fame, that's what they're doing it for, a lot of them.
Yes, but they're like seized by some spirit of destructiveness.
Well, it's a demon spirit.
That's it. And that's
demonic,
always been here. And it emerges, and we lie to ourselves and imagine we've got it totally under control.
Yeah.
Everything can be explained rationally. That's why I hate this whole, they're in it for the money.
Yeah, no,
If
they're
you
not.
think that's all it's about, you're gonna miss what's
You're gonna
actually
miss
happening.
what it's really
Well,
about.
My wife just found out her Chase card gives her complimentary Dash Pass. I can't get her to stop ordering household essentials. Oh, there's another one now. Okay, babe, why are you so obsessed with this?
Complimentary Dash Pass and $0 delivery fees. Do you realize how much money you're saving? Up to $10 a month just on Dash Pass. And then
I'm sorry. I got distracted reading something. Forgive me that you had to wait for me a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Please forgive me. So what is it that Tucker Carlson and Roseanne Barr, yes, I like it, Roseanne Barr talking about? They're talking about a system of evil that requires money to be generated. And money is generated anytime blood is shed. I tell you to go get the book by my big homie, Dr. Francis Miles, because it'll explain this. Now, there's a little bit of speculation. I saw somewhere on the YouTube where there was a pastor that was coming out against Dr. Francis Miles and saying that Dr. Francis Miles was a witch. I'm just going to say this so you guys understand this. There's competition and it shouldn't be competition, but there's the spirit of competition that gets on the pulpit. There is a spirit of competition that lands on the pulpit. Because on many pulpits, the spirit that is there is not the Holy Spirit. So as he grows in prominence, I want you guys to realize what I'm saying is true. As he grows in prominence, these accusations and this persecution of this man is going to grow. How do I know? Because I've been through it. It happened to me. As you grow, the persecution comes. For example, I promise you, we ready to go do this debate on the 12th? Watch the level of persecution that comes because of the things that I'm going to say. But then I want you to watch how I handle it, because I already know how I'm going to handle it. I'll be smiling and laughing and joking because I was sent on a mission and I'm not responsible for dealing with the tongues. The Lord is. But I want to show you something. Hold on. And I might even scan. I don't know if I want to scan his book because that's kind of foul. I want to show you something from his book and show you something about mammon. So hold on. Give me a second. I'll be right back. You know what? The best way for me to do this is just to read this to you. This is from page 85 of his new book. It says, when the heart desires position, security, or validation outside of God, the shedding of blood of others ultimately follows suit. So when you want something outside the position of God, people shed blood and make sacrifices because they want it outside of God. They want it outside of the Lord. So therefore, they kill, they steal, they destroy, right? And if we go to what happened with Jesus and Judas, it gives you this perfect example of what blood money is. We can go back to all kinds of things. Here's one example that we can use that's easier. Remember with Ahab and Jezebel? Ahab wanted Naboth's vineyard. And so he went there to Naboth and he was like, hey man, I want to buy your vineyard. Naboth was like, well, the Lord told me not to sell this vineyard. This is my inheritance. So Ahab goes back to his wife and she was like, why is your countenance so low? He was like, well, I spoke to Naboth and Naboth didn't want to sell me his. He acting like a little beat, like a dirty sandy beat, whining and complaining. Jezebel's like, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. I'll get it done. Now, him having that vineyard was outside of God's will. Although he's a king, he's a king. He can have anything he wants, but he just couldn't have that man's vineyard, right? So because it was outside of God's will, the only way he could have it was to shed Naboth's blood. But Jezebel went around. She went about doing the business.
Turn left onto Tommy Lee Cook Road.
Getting his royal seal and making a decree about a thing, by the boom, sets the man up, they killed the man. This is the repeated pattern when it comes to the elites, because they're functioning outside of God's will for them. So in order to function as in that process of functioning, they continue to shed blood. This is why you see wars, because it's outside of God's will. Well, DW, God started the war. Not every war is started by God. And you'll see that many of the wars, it's the reason why people are like, well, the military-industrial complex makes the money off the wars when our kids get their blood is shed. Yeah. You think it's God's will for people's sons and daughters to die so a corporation can make money? No, that's outside of his will. But those entities, those elites that are inside those corporations, they want the money, but they understand this. They understand that when blood is shed, money is made. And so they facilitate situations where blood is shed and then money is made. I know y'all not with me yet. Hold on, let me go back and let me give you more scripture.
Why do you support Donald Trump then?
Go back to the story of Cain and Abel.
Why, James Williams? Do you support Donald Trump if he knows he's got to shed blood before he makes any money? What up?
Yo, what you doing?
Driving.
Where you? True. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Quick question. Is there any way I could get you to Cash App me and then I Zelle you some bread back? I just need a new Cash App so I can send it to somebody. They don't have Zelle.
Okay, right. I don't have Zelle either.
I know, I said you Cash App. Oh, you don't have Zelle either.
No.
Uh,
But Tina might. So it's a possibility. We could do it. I just have to talk to Tina and see if she has Zelle. But either way, I can Cash App you some money and we can figure it out later.
Alright, stay on the phone for just a second. I'm going to make sure it's exactly what it needs to be. Hold on. That way it's no more, no less. Hold on just a second.
At the next stop sign, turn right. At the stop sign, turn right onto Jim Star Road.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just need 35.
35 bucks?
Yep. Yeah, I can get it back to you.
Yeah, it might take me a minute because I'm driving.
Yeah.
And I'm in Chattahoochee Hills. Ain't no place to stop out here.
Yeah, no big deal.
You know where I am? Chattahoochee Hills, you know where that is?
Not sure. Is that Buckhead?
Nah, it's like Buckhead,
Roswell?
but it's out.
Roswell?
No, it's by. Remember where we did that breakdance show with the orphans? Nah, we did a bunch of those, so you don't know. But anyway, yeah.
You think the orphans?
Orphans are with it, bro. I know about the orphans.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, the orphans are with it.
Yeah, how could it be a big thing if the orphans didn't know about it?
Right. I forgot about that.
Well, yeah, so you going, did you talk to him?
No, he didn't call me today. Did he call you today?
Yeah, he called me only for a second though. He didn't. No, I'm glad. Don't fuck around out there. Get your ass over here.
What do you say?
And he was like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm like, okay. Don't fucking play.
Yeah.
So, I just basically kind of just hinted at the fact I didn't want to say anything, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know who's listening or
Well,
what.
I mean, he'll tell on himself, is the problem.
I know. That's why I ain't telling
At the
no.
next stop sign,
That's why
turn right.
I wanted to tell him he was coming out there, but but
At the stop sign, turn right onto Georgia 70 North.
I assume that he probably already knows that you're coming.
Nah, he doesn't know.
Okay, good.
Because if he did, then he would tell everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So he can't.
Yeah, I didn't tell him either. So just letting you know. Also, just keeping you informed on what happened outside, you know?
No.
Nothing, basically, but still.
That's good. That's what
So,
you know, that's...
Tell him fuck staying in a hotel room. Y'all can go back. Like, right? Just...
They're planning on... You know, because I got bills.
Yeah.
I sleep in my car.
Yeah, just tell them you can be back at the house in 2 hours. Even though it takes 3.5.
Well, it takes about 4 hours to get to Dothan, Alabama.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to get the check. Come back here, get him a bank account down there, or they can know somebody that can cash it, whatever.
Oh, fuck all that.
It might take 7 days to cash.
Yeah,
You know?
plus they're going to be watching the FBI, all that shit.
Yeah, these people are completely stupid because they don't care if the FBI is watching them. They just like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want anyway.
Yeah, I get that. Well, I mean, I get that too. Like, cool, that makes sense. Do whatever you want. But, like, you ain't going to fucking pull one over on them. I promise you that, you know? Like, on the fucking government in this sense, it will cost
tomorrow.
So
yeah, that's where it is, town, Mushroom Town.
That's up. Oh no, yeah, we did a bunch of crawl space shit today. And my boss over here at this job was basically telling me that they're trying to get specifically. I know he said he's trying to get me ready for service manager position.
Fresh.
Yeah. It's just a little higher up, you know. Ain't nothing crazy.
It's just
I really don't even really want to be a manager like that, but you know, if I don't have to like go to, I'm gonna tell them straight up, you know, to some degree, I don't even go to manager meeting.
You have to do that. You're gonna be the one they're meeting. They're gonna listen to you.
What's that?
They'll be listening. The people will be listening to you when you have the meeting. You know?
No. I'd be the lowest manager.
True.
Basically.
Yeah.
I'd be working under my boss that I work for now, but just with more bullshit and probably not even that much higher pay. So, like, what's the point of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's probably less pay.
Like,
unless you
like
get,
you're trying to make me work more, get paid the same, and have like a flex in our company or something. That is not a flex to me. You know?
Yeah.
You flexing because you get paid more for doing more, or you get paid the same amount for doing more. That don't sound like a flex. You know?
I don't think you have to do more. So all you really gotta do is check paperwork. Service managers just check paperwork.
No, because they're making people do a bunch of stupid shit right now. Just being real about it, you know. Like I know what's going on. I see it. They're making higher up dudes do a bunch of stupid shit. And yeah, my boss.
At the next stop sign, turn left. At the stop sign, turn left onto South Fulton Parkway.
South Fulton Parkway.
In the right position. He was like, we're just going to get the right people in the right position. I think you're on the right being with us. That's really what we need. Because right now they got a bunch of bullshit motherfuckers up top and nobody down at the bottom, and nobody's doing, you know, the real work. So it's like, and somebody's got to do this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's sales guys. Yeah, there's fucking dudes that know how to do the work, but they ain't doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the basic idea of it. Is they need people in place to do the work, and they need to be able to train those dudes, but they don't want to, you know, do all that. So, but yeah, we killed it up here today. It's no big deal. Just did a bunch of crawl space shit. But, you know,
Yeah.
nothing, you know, we done worse crawl space shit. I'll tell you that.
No, that's right.
Yeah, me and you did some worse crawl space shit. Me and the dude that I'm doing it with have done some worse crawl space shit. Like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't huge. Like, building. So, anyway. Well, yeah, if you get a second, just send that over, and yeah, you know, just worry about Josh, but I don't think I need to worry too much.
Don't worry at all.
Not if you're going.
Good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I need to worry if you're going. So
yeah, everything's gonna be great.
Yeah,
it'll be fun. I'm gonna video it, so it's gonna be
right.
live on Comedy Zap tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Right.
If you want to be watching it, I'm gonna be videoing the whole thing, but it's about 4 hours into it. It's gonna be when he gets out.
Right.
Then
smart.
Yeah, because people are afraid of cameras, so if you want to make them run away, just pull a camera out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty smart.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I talked to my homie, so Josh can come stay.
Have you ever heard of the flock cameras? Flock?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Not everybody knows about them yet.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah, trippy.
Yeah, I know all about it. I know everything.
You know how to cut them down? You seen these people been cutting them down?
Yeah.
Come up with a
right
jigsaw and cut the thing down?
Yeah.
I saw one yesterday that was tagged. Like it was brand new. They just put it up. Somebody already tagged it. Yeah. I think that was in Atlanta, but I don't recall. And I think it was Austell, actually. So, pretty fun. Weird stuff. Yeah. Let's see. I saw one today, like down in the middle of nowhere in Douglas County, like down a road. Ain't nobody going down. You know?
Hey, what are you doing Sunday?
Door dashing?
Well, if you want
Josh
to,
called me. I'm gonna let you go.
Oh,
I'll call you, I'll call you back. Love
yeah,
you. God
send
bless
that when you can. Love you, dude.
Alright, peace.
Hello, you have a call at no expense to you from
Joshua Blocker,
an inmate at Bullock Correctional Facility. To accept this call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Three-way call not allowed for AD.
up, bro?
Chilling, what you doing?
Chilling.
Word.
Chilling, I had some coffee, and I had some cigarettes.
Turn left onto Georgia 166 West.
And I'm chilling. Friggin',
In 600 feet, turn right onto Cantrell Road.
Crocs on. I'm gonna wear them out probably unless they give me some boots. And 8:15, I'm gonna be out there, and I'm gonna kiss the ground.
Right
I'm
on.
gonna kiss the sidewalk and go to a gas station and get at least one Rain energy drink and some Stackers